To most people, this just looks like a boring electrical outlet. But did you know it's actually packed with a bunch of really cool features? For example, did you know that in a pinch, these little ears can be used to strip wire? Or that on the same outlet, you could have a light on a switch, but your phone still charges. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video because I've got a really cool outlet I want to share with you. If you don't know about it, it's going to make your life a lot easier. All right, let's dive in and take a close look at electrical outlets. One really cool feature about outlets is this slight tapering around where the terminals plug in. If you look really carefully, you'll see that it's designed to guide you in, which is amazing in like low light or in the dark, or maybe you're trying to reach behind something and you can't really see the outlet. When you go to plug something in, this outlet has an amazing ability of guiding you straight in. As a contrast, this outlet does not have that feature. It's just a flat face. And so if you're trying to do the same thing, you're kind of reaching around. You could reach around for a long time and never quite get the plug inserted completely. Not all duplex standard outlets have this feature. Like here's one that has the flat face on it. Outlets have a feature built into them that allows you to separate the two outlets so they can function separately, like we showed in the intro, where you have a lamp plugged into a switch and the other outlet stays hot even when the switch is turned off. It's this little tiny tab here between the terminals. This actually joins these two terminals. With just one wire, both outlets will work just fine. But there are situations where you might want one outlet to do one thing and the other outlet to do something else. And so they provide this small break-off tab here. And when we sever that, these two terminals act in isolation. Of course, you're going to want to do it to both sides in most applications to make sure that both the hot and the neutral terminals act in isolation. Another example of this might be in your entryway. You might want to have a boot dryer plugged into this outlet, but you want to have an entry light plugged into this outlet with a switch. Outlets have three places we can put wire. They have the gold terminal, the silver terminal, and the green terminal. The gold terminal is for our hot wire or the black wire, and this is the wire that carries the current from the circuit breaker. The silver screw is for the neutral, and it's what completes the circuit. And then the green screw is actually for our ground wire. And there are actually two different ways that we can attach wire to this outlet. These small holes here in the back are what are called stab or push-in connections. The outlet says very specifically, this is for number 14 wire only. If we try to put wire that's too large into this hole, it simply will not fit. There's a small release mechanism here on the back. In case you change your mind or make a mistake, you can remove this push-in wire. You'll need a small screwdriver and you have to press firmly and then you can pull up on the wire. Now you are allowed to use number 12 wire, but you have to move over to the screw terminals. Another feature that can be used with the push-in terminal system is called a strip gauge. If you look very carefully right here, it says strip gauge. And there's a small line. It tells us exactly how much wire to strip to make sure that we have the proper amount of insertion for this push-in connection. So we could lay our wire here on the back and we would strip it about right there. Something like that. The other way that we can connect wire to this outlet is using the screw terminals. The correct way to attach the wire to the outlet is to bend it around the screw. And this process can be kind of cumbersome, especially if you try to do it with a pair of pliers. Some outlets have a small ear built into them right here before the screw. And what this ear is designed to do is to help you to bend the wire around the screw. So if we strip a wire to the correct length, which I find to be about the depth of the outlet, we can hook it right here into that little ear. And that will hold that while we bend the wire around the screw. And now all we need to do is tighten down the screw terminal. Some outlets have this feature on the ground wire. We can hook the wire in behind and then wrap it around the ground. Another feature of these screw terminals is they're what are called a combination screw. For example, this outlet has both a square bit and a standard or slotted bit. This older style has the slotted, but it has a Phillips. The screw that attaches the outlet to the receptacle box or the outlet box is a 6/32 machine screw. And the ones that come on the outlets are usually fine for attaching over something like drywall or particle board. But if you try to move up to something like tile, you may need to go to a longer screw. Because this screw is a standard size, you can simply go to the local hardware store and purchase an even longer screw if it's necessary to make sure that the outlet ends up flush with your surface that you're working on. These little ears are actually removable. You'll see a little perforation right here so that you can bend them and snap them off. This is super helpful when you're working with metal boxes, because if you don't snap those off, you'll be forced to place the outlet on the outside of the box. This is what's called a mud ring. And when you put the faceplate on, the faceplate will not sit flush with the wall. You'll have this awkward gap and it will look ugly. But if you remove those ears, you can actually attach the outlet from the inside. And now when you attach the cover plate, everything will sit nice and tidy and flush to the wall. In a pinch, if you don't have any wire strippers handy, these little tiny ears up here are actually pretty sharp, and if you're using number 12 wire, they can actually be used to strip the wire. So if you slide the wire in, it'll be kind of snug, and then give it a twist at a slight angle, and once you notice that the sheathing is clear of the wire, you can give it a simple tug, and the sheathing should come right off. Almost all modern outlets have a new safety feature built into them that older outlets do not have. It's what's called tamper resistant. If you look very carefully here where you would plug something in, you can't really see in through the terminal. There's actually a small shutter built into this that prevents you from putting only one terminal in. The reason for that is so that children cannot place something sharp in the outlet and get shocked. So what this is designed to do is to prevent you from pushing in on only one side of the outlet. It will not allow you to put something in there unless both of them are pressed at the same time, which is how you would operate an outlet. So if you had something that you were going to plug in and you plug it in, it will push on both shutters at the same time and it goes in easily. Now, these don't always work perfectly. Sometimes they can be kind of annoying, but the trade-off is that our children cannot accidentally grab a set of keys or a piece of silverware and push it in and get shocked. There are two pretty common types of outlets that we'll use in our homes. One is a 15 amp outlet, which this kind is. If you're not really sure, you can look on the outlet for a marking. This one has a small marking here by the cover plate screw that says 15 amps. It's kind of a giveaway also how the receptacles are designed. Let me show you the other kind. This is a 20 amp outlet, and it's very slightly different than its 15 amp brother. You'll notice here on the neutral terminal that the shape of the plug is slightly different. This is the type of plug you probably use if you're going to attach an air conditioner or some other high draw appliance in over a long basis. If you try to plug an air conditioner or something like that into one of these outlets, you'll notice it will not plug in. This receptacle actually has what's called a polarized design. If you look closely, this one over here is slightly larger than this one here. This is designed to protect appliances that need a specific polarity. So for example, this plug, one of the terminals is slightly wider than the other. You've probably seen this on some of your appliances. And that's designed to help you make sure that you plug it into the receptacle the correct direction. You cannot plug it in backwards. Of course, there are some appliances that don't have polarity and they will plug in either direction. Like this charger doesn't care. I can plug it in either way because it doesn't matter. And as promised, I wanted to share with you a super cool outlet. I really love these things. They solve 3 problems for you all at one time. So they're a normal tamper-resistant outlet, so you can plug in your appliances, hair dryer, whatever you need, but they also include a charger for portable devices. This outlet also includes a USB-A and a USB-C port, and it's able to manage the energy of charging while other things are plugged in. We have this type of outlet in various locations around the house where it would be really convenient if you could plug in a charge cord for your portable device. It just replaces a standard outlet and takes up the same amount of space. So for example, if you're in the kitchen and you need to charge your phone, you can simply reach for this outlet, plug in your charger, and you don't need anything additional to plug into the outlet. This also can be a nice space-saving design because you could have other things like a lamp or something else plugged in here, and you don't need to unplug it to plug in your phone charger. Maybe you spend a lot of time maybe in the bathroom in the mornings and you need to keep your phone charged. Having one of these in the bathroom next to your GFI works super. I hope you'll give these outlets a look. They've been a real game changer for us. This one is made by a company called Leviton. I think you can get them for about $30, and it takes basic DIY electrical knowledge and probably about 15 minutes to install one. I never really realized there's so many little thoughtful features into an outlet, but when you're working with these on projects or building your own home or something like that, it really is helpful to know all the little tricks someone designed in there for you. If you enjoyed this video and you're doing your own DIY electrical project, we did a video on some of the most common mistakes DIYers make. We'll leave a playlist up here if you'd like to give it a watch. Thanks for joining me on this video. We'll see you on the next one.